Hello there and welcome to e-GMAT, where we solve every SC question by following our signature e-GMAT 3-step meaning-based approach. My name is Shraddha Jaiswal and I'm a senior verbal SME at e-GMAT, and today we will solve this question from Official Advanced, which is very context heavy and is identified as a communication-based question in OG Advanced. So let's begin. Because the sentence has so many layers of information, I have divided this sentence into smaller pieces so that we can understand the meaning of this sentence better. So let's begin. The sentence starts by saying, evidence of some shifts in the character of violence on television is emerging from a new study of 500 television programs. Okay, so I'm going to take a pause here and I'm going to assimilate whatever I have read so far. So this sentence is talking about this new study that actually shows some evidence of some kind of a shift or change in the way the violence is depicted on television. And this new study has been done on 500 television programs. So the meaning is good so far. Let's move on. By the Center of Media and Public Affairs, a non-profit research center in Washington, D.C. Okay, so the way this sentence is written, it seems to say that the programs are by the Center of Media and Public Affairs. Well, that could be a logical meaning, but then let's pay attention to this part of the sentence that is describing this Center for Media and Public Affairs, which I'm going to call CMPA. So, describing CMPA, the author says that it is a non-profit research center in Washington, D.C. Now, this makes me think rather, that if CMPA is a non-profit and it's a research center in Washington, D.C., how could it be involved in producing television programs? So, something is amiss over here, but let's finish reading this sentence and then we will take a look at the sentence again. Okay, a study that is underwritten by a number of educational institutions. Okay, so I read a study over here which takes me back to the study that we read during the beginning of the sentence. So this study that was done on 500 television programs. This study is being spoken about now in the latter part of the sentence. This study is underwritten or supported by many educational institutions. So, if logically I'm to put together the meaning of this sentence, or if I were to extract the aspects or the logical information present in the sentence, I would say that a new study of 500 TV programs show the evidence of some change in the quality of violence in TV. And then this study has been conducted by the CMPA. That is what is more logical meaning for me, that probably this study is conducted by CMPA because CMPA is a research center. Further, I also know that CMPA is a non-profit research center and it is based in Washington, D.C. Lastly, the sentence describes the study and says that it is supported by many educational institutions. So now that I have put together different aspects of sentence together to understand the logic of the sentence, we will move on to the error analysis, which is step 2, and here we will try to find out the grammatical errors in the sentence. Now, the point to notice here is that technically, in terms of grammar, I do not see any error in this sentence, but logically, I did feel a little disruption when I read this part of the sentence. Programs by the Center for media and public affairs. So as I said, that it is not right to say that 500 television programs were produced by the CMPA. It is the new study that was done by CMPA. So I would rather change this part in the sentence and try to clearly say that the study was conducted by CMPA rather than wording the sentence like this, where it says programs by the CMPA. That's an issue over here. Another thing I see here is that the placement of this modifier. We have a study which is a noun plus this part is modifying a study. So we have a noun plus noun modifier in this sentence. Now, we already know from our concept files that a noun plus noun modifier can modify any noun in the preceding clause, right? So it's not a big problem, or let me say that the placement of this noun plus noun modifier is not that big a problem, because I can still connect a study with this part of the sentence over here, a new study. So I would not really I would not identify the placement of this modifier as a placement error in the sentence. As I told you, noun plus noun modifier can refer to any noun in the preceding clause, but what really does not work for me in the sentence is this particular phrasing of the sentence. And I would definitely like to make it very, very clear that the study is conducted by the CMPA. All right, so with this thought process, I would now move on to my answer choice analysis. And for me, choice A does not work because of the verbiage of this answer choice. Choice B repeats the same error. Programs by the Center for Media and Public Affairs. And you know, this meaning is even more prominent when I'm reading just the answer choices. So it's forcing me to read programs with by the Center for Media and Public Affairs, kind of suggesting that the programs were conducted by the CMPA, which is definitely not the intended meaning. Another error that I see in this choice, which is choice B, is the use of this it. Mark the usage of the comma plus and before it, and so we know that from here I see an independent clause. Now, when I see an independent clause, this it kind of becomes ambiguous for me, because now I don't know whether it's talking about a new study or this subject pronoun is now associating itself with evidence, which is my subject noun, as an antecedent for this pronoun. So generally we see that a subject pronoun refers to a subject noun. In this case, it appears that it is actually referring to evidence and not to a new study. So the meaning of the sentence is completely altered because of this antecedent. So I would reject choice B for this reason as well. Now, choice C does not work for me again, because the sentence does say programs underwritten by a number of educational institutions. Now, the way this answer choice is written, it again tells me that it was the programs that are underwritten or supported by a number of educational institutions, rather than saying that the study is underwritten by a number of educational institutions, an information that is present in the original sentence. So that's my first meaning error that I see here. And once again, because we have and conducted by, once again, conducted goes back to programs. It refers to programs again, or it modifies programs again, suggesting that programs have been conducted by the CMPA, which is definitely not the intended meaning. So choice C is totally out, just does not present the intended meaning. Another grammatical error that we can see over here is the missing article. It should be a non-profit research center based in Washington, D.C. So that missing the article A, leads to the grammatical error in this choice. Choice C indeed is what we are looking for. How nicely this sentence brings in a study underwritten by a number of educational institutions closer to a new study in the original sentence. Now, this is the best position for it because a study just cannot come in between a study underwritten of 500 television programs. We really cannot separate a new study and of 500 television programs. That's why there is a little shuffle in the entities in the sentence, and a study underwritten by a number of educational institutions now appears as close as possible to a new study to dissipate any ambiguity that might have been in choice A regarding the modification by a study. Another thing that I see here is that it's very, very nicely worded, conducted by the Center for Media and Public Affairs. That means it's the study, both a study underwritten and conducted also refers to a study. So here the structure is a study underwritten by a number of educational institutions and a study conducted by the CMPA. These two entities make the list over here, and it clearly says that it is the study that is conducted by CMPA, and rest of the sentence is absolutely fine. So choice D indeed is the correct answer. Let's take a look at choice C. What doesn't work over here? We see that choice E again repeats the same pronoun antecedent error that we found in choice B. It is now supposed to be referring to evidence and hence changes the logical intended meaning. So choice D indeed is the correct answer. Now, let's talk about the takeaways here. Now, in this sentence, if I show you the sentence one more time, you will see that how we have so many modifiers coming one after the other in this sentence. It is absolutely all right to use modifiers back to back, but one thing we must be very, very careful about is the placement of these modifiers in the sentence. The modifiers must be placed in such a way so that they logically modify the entities that they are meant to modify. So we must be very careful about the precise placement of a modifier in the sentence. This is what we just spoke. They should be so precisely placed that there should not be any room for any ambiguity whatsoever. Also, one thing we noticed in this sentence was the usage of it, the pronoun it, in the subject place. And while talking about it, I did mention that generally a subject pronoun will find a subject noun as its antecedent, and this is what we saw in choices B and E. And we saw that when pronouns take a subject pronoun takes or took rather in this sentence evidence as its antecedent, the entire meaning of the sentence got changed. So we must be very, very careful in analyzing our sentences with pronouns and modifiers. We must make sure that the meaning conveyed by each and every entity in the sentence is very, very clear and does not lead to any ambiguity. So thank you very much for watching this solution. If you like this solution, please drop a like. Also subscribe to our channel for more such solutions, as we are working constantly to create valuable study material for all of you out there, so that we can be of some help to you on your GMAT journey. Also check the links in the description below for more helpful resources. That's all for now, and happy learning from e-GMAT.